Hello there. Today I'm going to tie a pike fly, and I'm going to tie a pike fly, and this type of fly is a popper. So this is a fly that is meant for surface fishing, and it's very spectacular when the pikes come and attack a fly of this type, because the fishing is very visual, and you see a lot of very great hookups. We're going to use a bunch of different materials today. We're going to use a foam popper head, then we're going to use some orange marabou, some orange rubber legs, some yellow artificial synthetic hairs. We're gonna use some yellow saddle feathers as well, and then we're gonna use some golden soft flesh. This fly is, as I said, very fun to fish with, because as you see the pikes attack this fly, you're in for a treat. It looks absolutely amazing when a big pike comes thrashing through the water, gills wide open and mouth as well, to catch this fly. So what we're gonna do basically today is we're gonna take a lot of materials and then make a very large, very long tail, and then the front of the fly, or the hook, is gonna be covered completely by this popper head. Okay, so we're gonna start with building the tail, and we're building a base of the tail, taking some of these yellow fibers, just cutting off a bundle of those like this, and tie them in. This is gonna be, as I said, the base of the tail. So I'm just gonna take this and draw them out a bit so they're not completely the same length. I'm gonna take about 10 centimeters of this or something like that, and then I'm gonna tie it in up here. As usual, when I'm tying pike flies, I'm applying quite a lot of thread, because I want these flies to last, and the pikes, or the muskie, if that's what you're going for, teeth can be quite devastating to any fly. So apply a lot of thread, and also I'm going to apply a lot of thread because I need this the body to be quite thick to be able to lock tightly onto my popper head. Good. That's the first step. Then I'm gonna apply some flesh, and I'm using something called soft flesh. It's important when you tie pike flies that you use the appropriate flesh. You need to have flesh that is completely smooth and don't have any curls or something like that, because that would completely entangle in the pike's teeth. So you will get very fast just a big bundle of fur if you use the wrong sort of flesh. So I'm just going to take a fairly large amount of this soft flesh, which is completely straight and has been working for me for quite a long time. Also, this is now, as you see, the length is completely identical here. So I'm going to take, just holding it like in the middle, and then pulling different parts of the flesh. So you see now my lengths are not uniform anymore. Tying this so it's gonna go all the way around. So I'm kind of like distributing it all the way around the hook, and making 1-2 turns with the thread where I don't apply pressure, and then I'm gonna fasten it correctly, properly, like that. So you see the flesh is now completely surrounding my wing. There's no need to waste this, so I'm just going to turn this around, and this will also make the fly more durable, like that, and tying this in as well. And just applying some thread. So there you have the base of the tail. Now I'm gonna tie in a lot of these saddle feathers. Saddle feathers, the hen saddle feathers has a very big advantage because they're fairly long. So I can tie whole feathers in, and these will come alive in the water. These will look amazing when you strip the fly. You will see the popper will of course splash a lot, but then also all these feathers that I'm going to use now will kind of have each of them will move at different paces and independently from one another, which will give a very great effect, almost like an octopus effect. But I don't think pikes that often encounter octopuses, but it has a very nice look in the water, and it has a very large appeal to pike. I'm just gonna take a bundle of these. This was the first 3. I'm gonna use about 8 or 10 of these. So it's unfortunately also quite an expensive fly, because these saddle feathers in a good quality are at the moment quite rare and hard to come by. I'm gonna tie them so that you have the what I would say the front size of this feather is turned in towards the fly. That means that the feathers will swing out. Will have the natural order of this of these feathers will then be to fold a bit away from the hook, which will give them even more movement in the water. So I'm just gonna tie a couple of these in on each side like that. I'll take another one, tie this one in so it's facing you. And I'm also gonna tie some in on the top of the fly like that. Taking some more feathers. And basically the longer the better for these feathers. But always keep in mind to tie them in correctly, so that the shiny side of the feather is facing the hook. You can almost see it. I hope this is kind of angling away from the hook. Like that. Gonna take a few more of these. It's actually a fairly easy fly to make, this one, but it is so much fun to fish with. Like that. Putting some on top of the fly as well. Up there. Where did I add? I think I pulled out some more. There's one as well. Like that. I'm just going to have a quick peek at how it looks on your side. Well, it looks rather good. It looks great also. So this is actually the base of the fly. I'm going to cut this off and then apply some thread all the way up here. Like that. Just tie all of this down a lot like this. Okay. Now what I really want to do is I just take one of these leftover feathers, and I'm just going to tie this down. And this is just to give my fly, the body of the fly, a bit more volume, so that when I push this popper head over the hook, then this fly will the body of this fly will then be able to fill out the hole inside the popper, like this. So you see now I have quite a thick body, which is fine. You can use any material, just whatever that is laying around. You don't have any need for. But these leftover from the hackle feathers, from the saddle feathers, are quite good at doing this job. So like that. This is almost like a big flatwing fly, except from that you are gonna apply this popper head. Now, to give this fly a nice looking joinment of the popper head and the rest of the fly, I'm gonna take a large marabou feather, something in this size, and then I'm gonna apply this as a hackle. That means that when I push this one, the popper head in over the hook, then it will take this hackle and then make it swoop backwards and give the fly a more complete look. And this marabou feather I'm gonna tie so I have the upside, the side that has the most color and the most shine to it, towards myself. That will make it more easy for me. So when I turn it, all the hackle feathers will come, will have the right how do you say that? Will be pointing the right way and not pointing. They will be pointing backwards and not forward, like that. I'm gonna turn this a couple of times. The marabou has a nice effect in the water as well. It's very lively and looks very great in the water. I think this is sufficient. So like that. Just tying it all down. Fastening it with the thread. Cutting it off. Like that. And again, you don't need to worry that much about if you have, if you have something that doesn't look completely good and you're using a lot of thread, because this is just a pike fly, so you will be using a lot of thread to make this right. Good, like that. Now you have the base of the fly, and now we're gonna apply the popper head. I'm just gonna take the thread and cut this off for now, just making a whip finish up here at the head part of the fly, because we don't need any more thread for the rest of the fly. Cutting off the thread, and then it's time to apply the popper head. But as you can see, this popper head is quite too long now, so I'm gonna cut it a bit short. Taking a scalpel, and then I'm gonna look at where do I want it to be. I want it to be right about there. So I'm gonna cut the popper head off. I'm gonna cut about, yeah, almost 1 centimeter or something like that. I don't know how much that is in inches, not on the top of my head if you're watching from the States. But you see, I've cut it down a bit, and then you have to make the very small hole inside this popper head bigger. And there's no polite way of saying that, but you just have to take your scissors or your whip finish or whatever you have that has a diameter that is appropriate for making this small hole larger. And you just take your scissors or your whip finish or whatever you have laying around, and you just jam it up into the the bottom, the end of this popper head. Yeah, just jam. So as you can see, I have now expanded the hole quite a lot, and I'm doing this from the bottom up because I have the most materials tied down in the bottom, so I need my hole to be the largest diameter in the back end of this popper head. Now you can see, now I have a quite a lot bigger hole, and this will fit very nicely on my fly now, like this. And what you need to do is you need to take some super glue and just apply a lot of that. And this next step I'm gonna do is the vital one, because if I apply this popper head too slowly now, then it's gonna be stuck halfway. and that's not good. If I apply too much pressure, then I'm gonna have the popper head all the way down in the tail and have a part of the hook with all these ugly leftover materials sticking out in front of my popper, which is something I don't want either. So I'm taking this popper head and then I'm gonna do like this. And this came out quite nicely, I think. So, like that, you have your popper now, and I can guarantee you this won't move anywhere because you have applied a lot of glue, and it will stick there. Now, I want to do something a little funny that one of my mates tried for the first time for a lot of years ago. We had some beers and we were fooling around with some fly tying material, and he came up with this idea. It's a very neat idea and it looks amazing. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a piece of rabbit strip, a piece of sunger strip, and I'm gonna apply this so you kind of get a mohawk on your popper head. This is gonna look very good. You can leave this out if you don't want this on your fly, but I assure you it will look great. So I'm gonna take quite a fairly long piece of rabbit skin, sunger strip. Then I'm just gonna measure if this looks approximately what I intend to. Don't use too much of this because the rabbit skin will have a tendency to collect quite a lot of water. No, that's not good. I'm gonna take another piece of skin here. If I can find one that will suit my needs. Boom, 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 boom. This piece looks better. Where does it? How about this one? I'm not completely satisfied with the quality of this. Well, here goes. So I'm gonna apply a small line of glue at the top of the fly, the top of the popper here. Like that. Then I'm gonna take my mohawk and just attach the skin directly to the glue, like that. And then you'll have your mohawk. Oh, I can see I need a little more glue out in the front of this fly. I can do that later. Okay, so I'm gonna take some ice, just some 3D ice is fine. This size is, I think, 8 millimeters. That's about right. 6 millimeters is fine as well. And then I'm gonna apply a small amount of glue here on the side of the fly, and take one of these eyes. You can use silver eyes. The color doesn't matter. You can use yellow ones as well, or golden would be fine as well for this fly. I'm gonna apply the glue like that to keep the eye on there. Do this exact same thing on the opposite side. Just give it a little squeeze so it sticks on there, and it kind of follows the popper head like that. And then the final touch is you take your dubbing needle and a lighter, and then you heat this up. And if you've used your dubbing needle for as you can see, I have used mine for quite a lot of different stuff, I guess, because it's oozing a little. Then be sure that you have not got epoxy or something toxic on there before you do this. And then as it heats up, I just push it through my popper head, just a little further down than half, like that, to make a hole. And into this hole I'm gonna take my my threader. This has been used for quite a lot of different things, and I push it in through the hole. This you do because now I want to have add some rubber legs. So I'm gonna take, I don't know, 3 or 4 of these. I think 3 is sufficient. Cut them off and then put them inside my threader, like so. And then I'm gonna pull this back through the head. And you have to do this a bit gentle, or you might accidentally make the threader cut these in 2. So just apply a little pressure, and if your hole is not big enough, you will definitely know, and you can just heat up your dubbing needle again and make your hole bigger. So I'm gonna pull these through like that, and then I want these to be of approximately this size. And so you have some very nice looking legs on your fly as well, like that, and you're done. You're good to go. Very good looking, fairly easy to make popper using a pre-cut popper head. I think this one is called pencil popper head. They're quite nice. And even though we have mangled this this popper head quite a lot, it will still keep the fly on the surface. And when you fish this, then take some long strips, and then it's important to stop stripping from time to time, because the pikes like to follow, and for some reason this passive looking popper just laying there in the surface will sometimes trigger them. Sometimes after 1 or 2 seconds of nothing happening, they will charge it. So fish it rather slowly, but make sure that when you start stripping, you make the first part of the strip quite hard to give it this splash effect. And yeah, it looks nice, it fishes nice, and the fish you catch with this is gonna be memorable, because you have seen them come and get this fly with 1,000,000 miles an hour from a great distance away. It's just spectacular. If you haven't tried it, you have to try fishing with a popper. It's amazing. Yeah. Well, those were the words. Thank you for listening.